Hi and welcome to this week's, it's going to be a much shorter vlog, and today it is, let me think, it's Wednesday the 15th of September, and this is the first bit of vlogging I've done this week. I've been really poorly, not 100% sure what's wrong with me. I'm waking up in the middle of the night, hot sweats, dry throat. Started to think, even though I've been double jabbed, it may be COVID. And I've done a lateral flow test day before yesterday. It was negative, and I am going to do another one later today. And I have also got the NHS what I call proper test, which I'm going to be doing tomorrow and getting that on its way. So yeah, feeling a bit rough, feeling a bit under the weather, but there's still a few jobs I need to get sorted. One was getting the second smaller and lighter barge pole bought and coated with the gun stock oil like I did the first one. And the other thing I need to do before winter sets in is I need to do the underside of both the cratch cover at the front and the pram cover at the back, where there's starting to be signs of mould. And anybody who's got a boat will tell you that even though I've got no issues with condensation inside the boat, it has never been a problem for me. It's always been a dry, damp-free boat. Cratch and pram covers, by nature, are very much like greenhouses. They do get warm and steamy, and the plastic windows do condensate. And what happens is this steam, for want of a better word, evaporates up into the canvas, and there the spores from the mould take hold. So I'm going to show you today how I deal with it. Now, I am going to wear a mask just to be safe. I would recommend you do that because you are going to be dealing with what I call a mould spores, and we're never 100% sure just how dangerous they can be. So just going to use an ordinary surgical mask, but you can use respirators if you feel you need to. And I'm going to use the MC42, which is the canvas cleaner that I did the front and rear covers with earlier back in the summer. Now, I find this product absolutely brilliant. You only need to use a teaspoon to a litre of water. It's very, very concentrated. And what I intend to do, and I will take you through it in a minute, I'm going to spray the inside of both the pram and cratch covers with just pure water from my plant sprayer, so it gets all the canvas nice and damp. And then I'm going to mix a litre of MC42, and I'm going to spray it again because it activates better when it's going onto a damp surface. And then what I intend to do is get a bucket of really hot soapy water with a very, very mild amount of bleach in there. Not a lot, because obviously I don't want to bleach the canvas, but it does help kill the spores. And I will be wearing insulated rubber gloves so I can have the water really hot. And then what I intend to do is use a hot cloth and wipe off all the MC42 that has been soaking into the canvas. And then tomorrow morning we'll look at the results when it's had a chance to dry. But for me, it's not been an issue until now. Now we're starting to get a bit of a few dewy mornings and a bit more rain, and then we get a few days when it's really sunny. You start to get that little bit of a steam build up in the back and the front of the boat under the covers. And because I'm at work, I've got all the sides closed, so of course, as I say, it's like a greenhouse. So that's me going to be done this week, other than doing Cider of the week, and I haven't even got that organised yet. So do forgive me, but I'll show you now how we're going to sort out these two issues, front and back. Oh. Right, we just need to step out into the bow, and hopefully this camera on this phone will pick up the problems I'm telling you about. As you can see, look here, look. All the way across into the sides. It's not so bad on the actual sides. You can see there, it's not heavy at all, but definitely I'm now turning towards starboard side. This is towards the bow doors into the bedroom. Across to the starboard side. And as you can see, this is the problem you're going to get. And if you just leave it, it's not going to obviously get any better. So I'll now just show you on the stern deck, and then we'll start tacking it. Right, now we're out on the stern and looking on the underside of the pram cover. Now this has still got mould on it, as you can see, some on the sides, a few cobwebs, but you get that on any boat. But the build up on here isn't as heavy as is on the cratch cover. And the reason for that is that when I do go to work and I know it's going to be a fairly nice day, I always leave this part of the front part of the pram cover open, because even if it does rain, it's not going to get into the boat because the hatch is closed. Whereas on the bow, on the cratch cover, that tends to be sealed up most of the time, so it's more of a greenhouse, so it gives a perfect breeding ground for the spores of the mould to take hold. And again, if you look on the sides, it's nothing heavy, but it needs sorting. So I'm going to get a bottle of just fresh water, and I'll set you up so you can watch me do a bit of it, and then I'll make up a solution of the MC42 cleaner, and that will be left then for about 10 or 15 minutes to soak before I get it all washed off. And hopefully tomorrow morning when I bring you out and show you, it'll look absolutely spotless. So let me go and get my spray bottle. Full. Now I don't know how much you're going to be able to see, but that is just pure water, and all we're going to do is just give all the cover inside a bit of a dampening, just so it gets it ready for the MC42 cleaner to go on. As I say, it works better when it goes onto a damp area. There's nothing in here, pure water. I don't need to be wearing a mask just yet. I will wear a mask when I come to wipe everything down, just to be sure that I'm staying at least a bit safe. I keep going out of shot. Let me move you around so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't know if you can see me or not. You will. You'll get an idea anyway. It's just something that you have to be aware of if you're going to buy a boat, that you're going to have to put up with regular. This is what I call internal maintenance. Just keeping on top of anything that can cause you issues health-wise. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see it. The canvas cleaner that we're going to put on the MC42 is going to be dilute. It's not going to be very concentrated. So again, it's not going to do you any harm, but it will get rid of this issue. 100% convinced of that. As you can see, it doesn't take long. You don't need to drench it. You just want to make sure that it's got a bit of moisture on there, just so the canvas cleaner then can get in and soak in and do what it needs to do. And that is all you need to do. That's the pram cover area dampened down. Right, we're now going to go and do the stern, which is the cratch, and then we'll mix up a solution. We'll make myself a cup of tea while this just soaks in, and then we'll make up a solution of cleaner to spray on. Let's go and do the muck and wise. Let's go and do the cratch cover. So it's exactly the same procedure on the Cratch as you've done on the pram cover. Just give everywhere, doing all the sides first. Just a quick spray over with a drop of water. Just see if you can see what I'm doing. Sides, as I say, aren't bad. It's mainly where the condensation sits up on the roof area. So it's just moving across, getting a bit of moisture in there. Get down in the crooks and the crannies. I'm sorry I'm holding it at a funny angle on the stand, but I've picked the pod up just to hopefully give you a bit of an indicator what I'm doing. So it's not the sort of job I really ought to be doing when I'm not very well, but it's one of the things that wants sorting. So I don't know how successful the film's going to be, but at least I know the job will be alright, it'll be sorted. Right, so now that's all dampened, and I'm now going to go make myself a cup of tea while that just soaks into the canvas, and then we'll mix up some cleaner ready to apply. And again, we'll leave that for 15 minutes, and then it'll be hot soapy mild bleach water to give everything a good wipe down. So join me in a bit, we're getting there. There, so this is what we're going to be using, and it does actually say on it it's good for removing stubborn stains, grease, mildew and mould. So now make a note of this MC42 because it's absolutely good product. I use it on the roof. Again, I'll put a slightly heavier concentration, maybe 2 teaspoons to a litre, in a plant sprayer, shake it up with fresh water, and I spray the whole of my cream roof so it's got a mist spray over it, leave it for 5 to 10 minutes, and then when I come to wash it off with a brush, I only use a soft brush, the grime just rolls off. So got my spray bottle, and I'm not going to measure it exact because I don't need to, it's not that specific. There you go. I don't know if you can actually see in the bottom of that bottle, but there's not a lot. And then we just top it up with water and make yourself a cup of tea while the canvases are soaking, and then we'll go and get this sprayed on. I'm not going to make a full litre because we won't need a full litre. So join me in a bit and I'll get this sprayed on. I'm not going to show you me spraying it on because it's just boring. But I will show you, hopefully wiping it all off with some seriously hot water. That's why I'll be wearing the rubber protective gloves. Catch up with you in a bit. Right, now it's time to get rid of some of this mould. The cleaner's been on for about 15 minutes, and in this bucket is some very hot water, just with some normal washing up kind of liquid in, a bit of antibacterial and a splash of bleach, but not a lot. And as I say, this is how I do it. It doesn't mean this is how you've got to do it, and I'm sure there'll be critics who say, oh, you shouldn't be putting bleach in, etc. It is only mild, but it's just there to help kill off any of the spores. And I will be wearing the rubber gloves, which are insulated rubber gloves, so I can deal with a hot cloth. And I will be wearing a mask, as you'll see in the vlog. So let's get the pram cover completely wiped down, and then we'll go on to the stern. Okay, so I'm not going to get you to watch me do the whole of the thing, but basically, as I say, I'm going to use very hot water with a well prepared solution, and it's just a case of giving the cover a really good scrubbing over to remove any mould. And okay, the mask is there just for safety. So I've got a lot of scrubbing to do. I'm sure you've got something more interesting than watching me. And what I'll do, I'll get the stern done after this, and then tomorrow I'll run the camera around just so you can see what kind of an effect it's had. So on this one we'll catch up in the morning, but I've got another little job to do after this which I'm going to video, and I'll show you that later. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's harder than it looks to do, but that's the whole of the roof now on the underside of the pram cover. It looks patchy now because obviously it's damp, but it's been sprayed with the MC42 and it's been wiped down with hot soapy water, and now we'll have to see what it looks like tomorrow when it's completely dry. But that will have killed off any of the mould spores that are on here, and it will always have marks on it because it's not a new cover, but at least it'll be free from the mould. So we'll just see how it dries out by tomorrow. Well, I'm going to take Misty for a walk and then I'll do the cratch cover. Definitely makes you sweat. Cool. Now this is my latest acquisition, approximately 8 foot, slightly thinner pole than the one I've already prepared, and this is going to be stained and oiled. And the reason I bought this one is because it's about 8 foot long and it's much lighter, and once it's finished it should look exactly the same as the one I've already done, the bigger heavier pole, which I intend to use more for river use. But I wanted a pole that I can grab in an emergency without struggling with, you know. I don't know, let's just say a boat's coming towards me and I need to be able to push him away, or I need to get off the side of the canal. This is going to be ideal just to grab and get myself free from a situation. So I just thought I'd just show you how it looks when I buy it. It's just come from a local timber merchant. Obviously again it's a banister with a flat edge, and that suits me because it will sit on the rack lovely, and it's a nice physical size to grab hold of. And it's cost me £12.50, which I think is a bargain. And I've got enough of the wood stain left in that tin and the stock oil to finish it, so even allowing for a bit of the cost of the oil, it's not going to have cost me £15 to purchase and get this pole looking nice. So I'm not going to go through every stage with you because I've done that with a large pole, but what I will do, I aim to make a start on this in a minute, and then when it's finished I'll just show you along its length, just so you get a bit of a before and an after. But at the moment, as you can see, this is just a normal wooden pole. It's got nothing, no treatment on it whatsoever. So I'll show you it when it's done. Right, what time is it? 7 o'clock at night, and already it's starting to get dark outside. And this is the first day of preparing this pole. As I said, I wasn't going to take you through every stage, but so far she's had 2 liberal coatings of stain, 2 coatings of gun stock oil using a cloth, and 2 coatings of gun stock oil by hand. So I'm now going to leave it overnight, and I think I've got enough oil left in this bottle of mine to give it a couple more coats by hand, which I'll do tomorrow, and hopefully that will then give me the finish that I've got on the first one, and it'll be ready to go on the rack. So I'll show you tomorrow when I've got the last 2 coats on it. But so far, as you can see, it's already starting to get that sheen, and there's nothing better, as I've said before, than using a gun stock oil that actually soaks into the wood and creates a very hard, resilient surface. But the nice thing is, even though it's shiny, it definitely doesn't affect your grip. It's brilliant. Right, that's the pram cover sorted, so I'm now going to do my lateral flow test. I did one 2 days ago. I just want to do another just to be 100% sure. And I'm not going to let you watch me take the samples because I don't think that's particularly nice. But I will do the results in front of you, and hopefully we'll get a single line which tells me I'm still negative. So I'm going to turn you off, go and do my test, and we'll watch the results together. See you in a bit. Oh. Okay, sample taken, 2 drops. Well, at the moment, I've got one line next to the C, which says negative, but I'm going to leave it for the 30 minutes. It says, is it 30 minutes? Yes. So I'm going to leave it for the 30 minutes, which will make about 3:15, and as long as there's just one line on there, then I know it's a negative result. Right, well that's 30 minutes, and I hope you can just see on there, not quite sure if the camera will focus in on that, single line next to the C that tells us it's negative. So I'm dead chuffed with that. Now I get on with some more work I've got to do on my barge pole. Right, I've got 2 little jobs to do. I've got to put another coat of oil on the smaller pole, and this is the larger, what I call my river, what's going to be my river pole. And what I've decided I'm going to do, I'm going to fix this handle here, because this is the flat side of the pole, and when it's on the rack the handle will be facing downwards, and I can put the chain through the handle holding it to the rack, so it's chained to the rack, and it's far enough down, it's just handy to grab hold of it if I'm moving the pole around, but it's not going to be in the way because it's quite about 4, yeah, it's a good 4 foot down the pole, and I just thought, well, at least that's not too intrusive, and it can come in handy just to grab hold of if I need to grab the pole in a hurry, and offer a bit of security when the pole's on the rack. So I'm just going to get this screwed on, and then I'll pop it back up on the rack, and then when I get the smaller pole finished, I'm going to get an identical handle, position it in the same, and then the chain will go through them both. £2.90, and a bit of peace of mind that it isn't suddenly just going to walk off the top of the roof in the middle of the night. Yes, you could say, well, they can tug at it, or they could unscrew it, but it's more for devilment, as it's trying to prevent idiots just running off with your pole. There we go, it's all screwed on. It's 4 screws, and they're a good about 1.5 inches long, so they're secured that handle nice and firm to the pole, and it's not too intrusive, and when it's laid on the rack it'll be that way up, and then the chain will just go through the handle, under the rack, through the second pole, through my ladders, and keep everything safe and secure. I'll just show you on the rack. And that's how it's going to be when it's positioned on the rack, and as you can see, hopefully you can see, there's a gap underneath the rack, my fingers are pointing through, and then the chain will go through the handle, under there, round the step, through the handle that's going to be on the second pole, and then a padlock, and that'll just keep everything tied down to the boat. Now that'll only have a padlock on it when I'm moored up and I'm leaving the boat. When I'm on the water, and there's always that possibility I'm going to need to grab a pole, then the chain will be removed, and that'll be part of my morning checks before I start sailing. So I've just got to get the second and last coat of gun oil on this boy, and then hopefully tomorrow I can get a handle and get it fixed, and that's both the poles finished. I've then got a plan to convert this ladder into a gangplank, but that's going to happen, I'm hoping, next week, so you'll have to tune in to see how I develop that. So I'm going to go and put the kettle on. I'm getting ready for a cup of tea. Right, it's now Thursday the 16th, and I'm just going to climb into the well deck area, and we'll have a look if this camera should be able to pick this up now. And as you can see, it's still got to dry a bit, but this again is looking towards the bedroom, the bow doors, across the starboard side, and all that mould is now gone. Canvas still needs to dry out, but it's a lovely day today, so by tonight that will have all gone back to one normal colour. The most important thing, all the mould has been cleared, so I'm quite happy with that. And I think when the sunshine has dried the rest of this off, it'll look absolutely fantastic. But there's no traces of the mould anywhere. I'll just show you on the stern deck, which is a similar scenario. I've opened the, I'm going to open this front, this here, it's a front window, just to let a bit of the air in to help dry this out. But I'll just show you on the stern deck in the same situation there. I've opened the side and the front window just to get some fresh air in to finish drying the canvas. Right, let's pop out here and let me just show you. As you can see, I've opened the side cover and I've also opened the front just to let some air in. But again, if we look up now, other than it needing just to finish drying, there's no there's none of that nasty mould, and that should now suffice to the spring. It will come back because of the nature of the design of cracked covers and with plastic windows and warmth and damp. It's an ideal breeding ground for mould spores, but I'm happy with that. It's it'll dry. By the end of the day, that'll gone back to one natural colour, and we're free of mould. Time for some tea and toast. Cider of the week. Well, welcome to this week's cider of the week. What a week! What a week! Not been well at all. Hence only a short vlog, and I do apologise for that. And as you have seen in the vlog, at one point I started to believe that maybe, even though I've been double jabbed, that I'd actually managed to pick up this COVID virus. But I've done 2 tests now and both have proven to be negative. So to celebrate the fact I haven't got it, I thought we'll have a different kind of cider this week. And I haven't got out very far, so I've been to the Co-op in Willington, and on their shelf they have one of these. I'm going to see if we can get it close up so you can see it. Now this is actually the strongest cider that we've had on review. This is Tillington Hills British cider, and it says irresistible, says the Co-op. It's a 500ml bottle. It's 6%. No description whatsoever. No, absolutely, just said it's good for vegans. So well, let's crack it open, and I'm hoping this is going to be more of a traditional cider. Oh, it smells like a traditional cider. Callum and Louise, always raise a glass to you, and let's see what it's like. Yeah, now this looks like cider. Nice colour, and it smells. When I was a kid, I know I'm digressing, but when I was a kid, on a Sunday we used to have a roast beef dinner every Sunday, and we used to have a bottle of Bulmer's cider, and as kids we was allowed, I don't know, just above half a shot in a glass, but we weren't allowed to drink it until we'd eaten us dinner, which in itself didn't sound too bad. But my dad, when he bought a joint of beef, he always bought a joint of beef that got a lot of fat running through it. Well, it tasted nice, to be fair, looking back, but as a child it wasn't really nice, and we had to eat every bit we put on the plate, so it was a bit like punishment and reward. But anyway, let's see what this one tastes like. Now that's a proper cider. Not so much of a fizz, nice appley taste, and again it's very, very similar to the old, and I'm talking going back to the late 60s, the Bulmer's type cider. It used to come in a brown bottle with a big screw on top, and it was one of the tops that used to screw down into the bottle. Yeah, now this is a proper cider. I could yes, I could definitely have this with a cooked dinner. Again, a roast beef dinner, steak dinner. This would be an absolutely brilliant drink to have with it. This has been in the ice box, so it's nice and cold. Again, chances are you guys would have it over ice. I just think it weakens it. It's got a lovely deep appley taste. Yeah, this is one. It says 2020 vintage, so is a year of vintage. Maybe it is for an apple, I don't know. But if you want to get a cider in that's what I call, yes, it's a sociable cider. You know, it's the sort of drink you'd have with friends when they come round. But if you're having a meal and you want something, you don't want asti or that kind of, you know, a fizz drink, a champagne or whatever, then this is definitely one to have. Get down to the Co-op. I'm not promoting the Co-op, bought this with my own money. It was £2.10. It's the dearest I've paid for a bottle of cider, but it is 500ml and it does taste absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, Tillington Hills British cider, got that nice and close up there, so if you freeze the vlog you'll be able to make a note of that. And I tell you what, that would be one to get in for over Christmas. That'd be nice to have with your Christmas dinner, you know, sooner than having a bottle of fizz. You know, I think that is really, really quite a nice cider. And what about a night? It's been a funny day. Misty got me up at 7 o'clock this morning. She hasn't been very well either, and bless her, she actually let me know that she needed to go to the toilet, which is great because it's not something she'd do unless she was desperate. And it's 7 o'clock this morning. It looked like it was going to be a right miserable old day, and as you can see, I've got sunshine on my face. It's a glorious evening. I've got a cracking glass of cider, and this has rounded off my week perfectly. I'm hoping to feel a bit better next week. I've got 1 or 2 jobs that I need to be looking at. I have started the engine today and still no leaks, and she starts on the button, so everything there must be good. And I will hopefully update you in the not too distant future on a bit more of a development regarding the fuel situation on board Freedom. But until we catch up with you next week, it only remains for me to say thank you for watching. Please do subscribe. Join us on Facebook. Come onto our Facebook group page. You'll be very welcome. And cheers.